stop trying to compete with men. Like, I mean, we've been living in a very masculine dominated world for a really, really long time. And women feel like in order to be worthy and in order to be able to take up space in the world, they need to be like men. And that is just not true. That is not where our power comes from. Yes, we have to be balanced, but our true power comes from our feminine essence. What is up, Soul Fam? It's Sundial from Substance Over Style, and welcome to a new video. So as you can see, I am in London again. It's taken me a couple of days to settle in, so thanks to everybody for bearing with me. Took a little 5-day hiatus off my Instagram as well, which was really nice. I was like taking a break from daily posting on Instagram because it kind of gets a little bit exhausting otherwise. So I have a requested video for you guys today, and it was a comment on my video how to dress like a goddess, from Peonies in May, who asks, "Hi Sundial, you exude self-confidence. Could you film a video on how to have self-confidence as a woman?" So I made some notes, channeled some thoughts. Actually, the notes I channeled were very generalized. It's, you know, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman or anything in between. So I will kind of start off with that, and then I'll include a little bit towards the end on femininity. Let's hope I don't forget. And yeah, can I just firstly say, I've become a new Olaplex follower or fan, because I don't like, this is not, you know, a sponsored video, and I'm not an affiliate for them, although I'm thinking I might become one. But I just discovered, because I was buying some new shampoo from Sally's, we're not allowed out of the house for like 2 weeks. I have to order everything online. So I went to the website and it categorizes everything into like vegan or, you know, whatever category, and one of them is vegan, and I saw that Olaplex is vegan, so I just bought a couple of Olaplex products, and I bought the number 3, which is the bond fixer, or I can't remember, but I just put it on my hair, and my hair is so soft. So that's also one way that you can have confidence as a woman, have really soft hair, because when my hair is all crispy and flaky and dry, I feel like absolute dog shit. So that's one top tip. Okay, so let's get into the video. Firstly, confidence. So what's the opposite of confidence? The opposite of confidence is nervousness or anxiety, or self-esteem issues. Now these will stem from a combination, could be all three or could be just one of them, either having very high or even possibly unrealistic expectations of yourself. These can be just expectations that you intrinsically feel that you have for yourself, or they could be from society. So let's say, for example, when I first started modeling, I wasn't very confident when it came to modeling for various reasons, mainly because you know, partly was self-esteem issues, but those self-esteem issues were implanted by various societal factors, like the fact that, you know, when I would go on the top model agencies' websites in London, I would see very few models that looked like me. They were very tall, they were mostly white and blonde and extremely skinny, and I am not super tall. I'm like 5'8", or a little bit less, which is by industry standards is on the shorter end. I know that nowadays, you know, with Instagram and everything, there are much shorter models who are working and have successful careers, but when I started 15 years ago, you know, the girls who were under 5'7" were very, very rare. And I was not that skinny. I was really, really curvy. I've talked about, you know, my journey dropping dress sizes so that I could, you know, get sample size measurements in the video on Storytime, the law of attraction, how I dropped 2 dress sizes and became a model. So you can have a look at that. So those societal factors caused me to be really nervous when approaching agencies or going in for open calls, or even going to castings even once I did get signed, because even though I did get signed, I was constantly feeling like I wasn't good enough, and I was, you know, always on the back foot with my agency. Like if there were problems that came up, you know, with clients or you know, payments and things like that, I didn't feel like I could stand up for myself, because I was just so thankful to be represented by them, and just worried that they would kind of drop me at any moment. And this is a really, really common thing amongst models. When I was starting out in the industry, a lot of girls felt like this, because we were constantly made to feel like we were not good enough. You know, booking agents would constantly be like, well, not constantly, but often remind us of, you know, if, you know, a girl's particularly ambitious and she's like, oh, I want you to go and send me to see this photographer or this client. And a lot of the time the girls were too nervous to even do that, even though the agency technically works for us. You know, the agent would say, oh, well, you know, your book's not strong enough, or you're, you know, that photographer likes really young girls, or, you know, you're a bit too big for that client, they like really skinny girls. So it was really, really common for a lot of models to have self-esteem issues. So this can cause limiting beliefs. Now, sometimes limiting beliefs aren't to do with what's happening around you at the time. Sometimes they come from you know, they're very, very deeply embedded in your psyche from childhood experiences. So it could be from like bullying or abuse even, like, well, bullying is abuse. So if you feel like you might have some limiting beliefs that aren't grounded in truth, I recommend, and this is something that's really worked for me, it's helped me throughout my career, and it's also helped me in my personal and spiritual evolution, is to transform those limiting beliefs you can use regression therapy. So there's a video that I made, When You Get Triggered, Do This. That's a video that talks about regression therapy. It's a very, very powerful technique where you find the source of the trigger or the wound or the limiting belief, and often you'll find it might just be like a thing that somebody said to you, somebody at school or a teacher or a relative or your parents, that basically implanted a belief system in your mind that you are not good enough. Okay, so once you find the source of that belief, you can ask yourself, does this really hold true for me now in the world, for society? And you can transform it. Now, sometimes the lack of confidence or the nervousness is caused by knowing that you are unprepared. So if I was going to castings, for example, going into agencies, and I knew that my portfolio was not at the level that it needed to be for a model of my profile, like my age, my height, my measurements, and all of those types of things. Like if you're not the exact look that tends to work well in that market, you know, agencies are not going to be that keen to sign you on. They may take you if everything else is like really perfect, so like your portfolio is just stellar or something like that. So whatever industry you're in, you know, do you feel like you have enough experience? Do you feel like you have enough credentials to be, you know, applying for that job or going for whatever it is that you're showing up in the world for? So I understand that you asked this question as a woman. So as a woman, like, what does that mean? Like, because you didn't really specify, you know, in what sphere are you trying to gain your confidence? So I'm just going back to the front of my notes. So, you know, you need to ask yourself, where confidence in what area? Because you can be confident in one area but totally not confident in another. You know, like, for example, I might be amazing, really, really confident when it comes to my career and my profession as a model, and you know, I did get there. It took me a while, and it required me to gain certain credentials. So I had to get a kick-ass portfolio. I had to travel the world and work successfully in several different markets to know that if I go then to another market where I'm not getting that much work and clients aren't really responding to me, that it doesn't affect my core beliefs about myself, because I know that in the other market that I went to, people really responded to me well and I worked really well there. So it's just might be, you know, like let's say, for example, in the dating world, if you're going out on dates, you're meeting men. If one guy doesn't like you, he doesn't call you back, he rejects you, he doesn't return your attentions or your affections, because you're going on dates with multiple different men at the same time, getting to know them all, you know that how that man feels about you doesn't dictate your worth, because he might not like you, not for anything that has to do with like your value or your worth as a woman, but just because it's not a good fit for him. Like he may love, you know, traveling, and you absolutely hate traveling. You know, he might be very bohemian and free-spirited, and you might be like super ambitious, and like, you know, you just might not be a good fit. So don't let those kinds of things define you. Like I talked about this in my video on rejection and how to not let rejection affect you, where I shared a personal story of how I was rejected by 2 different clients. One was the photographer duo Mert and Marcus cancelled me off their Lancome shoot. And then Marks and Spencer also sent me home. One was because my legs weren't the right shape, and the other one was because my feet were the wrong size for the shoes. So one of them made me feel a little bit like, you know, just a little bit not enough and a little bit hurt by the rejection. Not that much, because I know that Mert and Marcus are 2 of the most famous photographers in the world. You know, they shoot like the top supermodels, so I know that their requirements are really, really high. And, you know, just because I'm not good enough for them, I've still managed to have a really successful career. I make money, I've traveled the world, so I'm not going to let it bother me that much, but it still did bother me a little bit. And then Marks and Spencer was like, okay, your feet aren't the same size as the samples that we've got, so they sent me home. I don't care, because I don't attach a value judgment to the size of my feet. Like I might a little bit to my legs, because that's something that you can change and you can control. And it might be, oh, I should have been skinnier. You know, like as women, we often have this belief that we should be skinnier. Again, that is a program that is, you know, designed to make women feel like they're not good enough for being feminine energy beings, because, you know, women holding a certain amount of weight is feminine. You know, it's more yin, it's you know, it's what prepares our body to be able to create life. Like a much slimmer body is a more yang type body. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, women who are skinny can't be feminine. I'm just saying that in that aspect they are more masculine. And that's fine, because we all have masculine and feminine qualities, and we have a unique expression of how we balance those energies within us, and that's beautiful. We're beautiful in our uniqueness. But making women feel like they should be a certain size in order to be acceptable, in order to be valuable in the world, and that this one is better than that one, is just ridiculous. We have to reject it as a feminine collective, I believe. We need to be more diverse in our representations of beauty. So also look at, like, you know, if you're feeling like you're lacking confidence in your body, and I realize that I'm jumping around a lot, but that's fine, it's all relevant. Stop looking at, you know, examples of female beauty, because beauty is one of the aspects of the divine feminine. Stop looking at, you know, examples of female beauty that don't mirror back your own beauty. Like if you keep on seeing things that make you feel like you should look like something else, then just unfollow those. Go follow people who remind you of your beauty. If, however, you know deep in your heart that you have not been treating yourself well, and that you need to actually level up, whether that's, you know, for example, with modeling, I knew I needed to get a better portfolio. I just did, and I knew it. Like everybody told me in the beginning, your portfolio is just not good enough. You're 22, which is by that point was ancient to be getting started in the industry. So I had to really, really invest in myself. I had to pay a photographer to shoot my first pictures. I recommend anyone trying to get into modeling who's maybe starting a little bit later, do this. I've coached so many models to do this, and the models that have done well, and the models that have chosen to go the free route have not got the success that they were after, and that they deserved and could have got if they had just spent a couple of £100 on a photo shoot. So whatever it is that you need to do to invest in yourself, do it as as soon as you can. Don't waste time. You only have one life to live, and your time is your most valuable resource. You know, if it's your body, if you know that you feel like your body is not the best it can be, like me, for example, I've just spent 6 months in Bali. I mean, you saw what I ate in a day. I am pretty healthy, but I have put on a little bit of weight because I've not been as active as I was, like, say, in London. I'm walking every day. I'm going to meetings like 3 or 4 times a week. I'm on the tube. I'm constantly walking like at least an hour a day. So that's a lot of cardio, low impact cardio that is keeping me in good shape. So now, you know, I know that I need to apply action to be my best self. So it's all about like balancing your masculine and your feminine. So your feminine, like being and loving yourself just exactly as you are, and your masculine, which is, you know, taking action and moving towards a goal, where you know, and being your best self, wanting the best for yourself, and going through that transformation that you feel like you need to go. Because ultimately confidence is not something that comes overnight. Like, you have to earn it. Like, I wasn't confident as a model until I'd already been doing it for 8 years. Like, I slogged my ass off in the industry, and I did do quite well, and I was consistently working, but it wasn't until, you know, I started doing a lot of meditation. This really, really helped, and, you know, really calmed some of my anxieties and transformed some of my limiting beliefs. Using also subliminals are a really good technique that you can use to transform limiting beliefs, because a limiting belief will basically, it will prevent your manifestation. Like, if you have a subconscious limiting belief, it doesn't matter how many times you try and get into the feeling state of receiving this outcome, that is going to be repeating on a loop in your subconscious mind, even when you're not consciously aware of it. So, you know, putting on subliminals and, you know, just lying down, doing like a yoga nidra, or like just a very deep meditation, or you can even put them on while you're sleeping, will help you transform your beliefs about yourself, whether you're worthy or good enough, or, you know, whether you want to receive more abundance, all of those things. Subliminals are, you know, have been one of my favorite tools for transforming limiting beliefs. But yeah, it was only when I went to Bangkok and I'd done a lot of this spiritual work on myself, and I had a new perception of myself, and then I got my Vogue cover. Once I got my Vogue cover, like, after that, it was like I was a different person. But it wasn't so, I'm thinking about this now, like whether it was because I got the Vogue cover, or whether I got the Vogue cover because I already became that person. And I think it's the latter, because it was when I've really released attachment to whether I got it or not. But I pretty much believed that I would get it, because I'd already worked so hard on, you know, working towards that goal, that I felt like I deserved it then at that point. Yeah, so that's an interesting one to consider. Like, you have to get into the state of really believing that you deserve whatever it is that you're trying to manifest in your life. So yeah, and then another thing that I want to say before I forget, specifically more to do with, you know, confidence as a woman, is stop trying to compete with men. Like, I mean, we've been living in a very masculine dominated world for a really, really long time, and women feel like in order to be worthy, and in order to be able to take up space in the world, they need to be like men, and that is just not true. That is not where our power comes from. Yes, we have to be balanced, but our true power comes from our feminine essence. So don't feel like, you know, if you're like on a date with a guy, for example, in a relationship with a guy, and he's extremely accomplished in his career and you are not, that makes you like less than him, or him better than you and more high status than him. It doesn't. Like, we have different qualities, you know, we have different priorities. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there for now. I've got a list of other videos that I'm going to record, so if you want to suggest a video, feel free to leave your suggestions in the comment box below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you found it helpful, please share it amongst your audience. Please like and subscribe and all those good things. It really helps the algorithm, and the more we help the algorithm, the more people will be drawn to this channel, and then the more videos I will be able to make you, because I will be supported by you. So it's kind of a, you know, energy exchange. So yeah, that's it, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, Sopham. Love you.
You're introduced to LSD, and unless you've taken some other drug, like for instance like marijuana or something, well, you know, it's an altogether new thing, and you actually